What If, Series 1, Episode 1, titled What If Captain Carter Were the First Avenger? Now, what this show is of course, Marvel Studios' first animated project. Like, from movies or TV, this is the first time they're doing animation. And it's diving something from the comics, which is What If, where they took a story that fans knew about, like, let's say, the death of Gwen Stacy, and asked the question, what if Gwen Stacy lived? Or what if people knew that Daredevil was blind? Or what if Captain America just stayed in World War II? Like, what would the Marvel Universe look like? You know? And you have, in the concept of the MCU, is you got this character named the Watcher, and the comics is also like this. You got this character named the Watcher, who's kind of this all-powerful being, who's, you know, I've been there since millennia, and I'm able to see every possibility of out through the multiverse and see the stories and characters and let us explore the concept of what if and all that. And he guides us to these different stories. And in the concept of the MCU, it's what if the events of the movies happen a little bit differently. And with this first episode, it's asking the question, what if Peggy Carter became Captain America, or in this case Captain Britain, or in this case Captain Carter? And for this first episode, and their first time diving into animation, it's good, but you can tell it's their first attempt. And what I've been hearing is, because Marvel has been giving out early screeners, getting people to get to see the first 3 episodes, there's a running theme with this first episode, which is, yes, you can tell it's their first attempt, but 2 and 3 are a massive improvement from this episode. Because here's the thing, it is all heavy on its concept. Is Peggy's Captain America. And that's kind of it. Like, yes, you got moments where they can explore relationships, explore the relationship a little bit more, and the different dynamic between Peggy and Steve. The whole concept of it's in the 1940s, and the concept of a female soldier is not something that people can wrap their heads around. I know, but again, it's the 1940s. You got that aspect of things. But most of it is just going through the motions of First Avenger. Except it's Peggy, except Steve. And Steve's in it. Like, Steve's in this, like, Iron Man, this prototype. He's the Iron Giant. He's in this, like, Iron Man prototype suit. And there's scenes in this show, in this episode, where there's scenes that we have seen in First Avenger, but it's played differently. Like, I'm hitting a spoiler here, but except Bucky dying, it's someone else dying, dying in, on the train, that whole thing. And the climax is different, and I mean, except planes and bombs, it's Red Skull's opening a portal and having a giant octopus fight, and your head's thinking, it's different, but it's not different enough. The voice acting is really well done. I mean, probably the weakest link, like, of course, the whole thing is they got actors from the movies to reprise the roles to voice the characters that they're linked to. But probably the weakest is probably Dominic Cooper, who plays Howard Stark. It's just that whole thing where you can kind of tell it's like someone's first time doing voiceover, and they're not. It's like the first time you do it, you might not be as good as you are playing the character in live action. Voice acting is a whole different art. But you got Sebastian Stan being Bucky. He's really good in it. Hannah Atwell is voicing Peggy Carter. She's really well put together. Does a really good job voicing Peggy. All the other actors who, of course, Chris Evans is not voicing Steve Rogers, but they got a voice actor of the name of Josh Keaton, who's known for playing Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man and a couple other animated things. He's really good as Steve, the girl Swanee Steve. I'm trying to think if any other voices that I recognize, like even just like voice actor stuff. He I don't like Westall's in it, but I can't click on it. Sam Jackson's in it, and Jane Winner is in it at the end, because spoiler, Peggy goes to Bangladesh, and they play that a little bit differently. It's different, but it's not different enough. And hopefully in the next few episodes we can hear are different, with the whole Black Panther, T'Challa is Star-Lord in episode 2. That it is a little bit more different. It does feel it's the first attempt in animation. It does feel like the animation is beautiful, like looking and fluids, and it's really well put together. And I really dug the animation, but as you can tell, it's the first time. They do rush through stuff. Like the moment there's a dramatic pause of it, that they kind of, the moment Peggy becomes Captain Garge, it's like, okay, we need to go through our story very quickly. And you felt like, have some time to breathe. Let's have some time to acknowledge time to be with these characters, and not just go through action sequence. But it's the first time with animation. You can maybe kind of sense like, let's just briefly give people the concept of what if in this. It's the same movie but a little bit differently, and we'll, episode 2 onwards will completely change it. But yeah, this is a good episode, and what I'm hearing 2 and 3 is pretty well done, and I can't wait for this to see what other authorities and what ifs that the Watchers are going to take us.